Welcome back to another Jazz basketball breakdown. Mike Conley's return to Utah. He played nicely.
He did play nicely. It's almost like he slept in his own bed last night.
Yeah, no kidding. Obviously got beat by the Timberwolves tonight, but another kind of fun game. Fun seeing these rookies grow, seeing these young guys grow.
Kind of figured Timberwolves would win. Are they first in the West right now?
They're top four.
They're up there.
The Thunder, Nuggets, Timberwolves, and
Clippers?
I don't remember who the fourth team is.
Anyways,
but
those three are
around.
changing quite a bit.
Mm-hmm.
Loved the starting lineup. Chris Dunn moved into the starting lineup. Colin Sexton, for the first time in a long time, came off the bench, which, as the season has gone along, I think that's kind of been confirmed that is the right spot for him to be in, coming off the bench.
I agree.
A heavily defensive lineup with Taylor Hendricks, the rebounding monster and defender, Kessler and Chris Dunn, along with Sensabaugh and Keontae. Now, our shot wasn't falling tonight, and the Timberwolves have the number one defense in the NBA, but we missed several open shots.
That's the thing, is we should have gone into the end of the first, if not the end of the first half, up like 15 points. I mean, how many wide open shots that normally fall,
right?
Just weren't falling tonight. That you could see we were a little tired, a little young rookies adjusting to a schedule and stuff like that, and you could see it hit them tonight, and it really felt like a game that we very easily could have been up big.
We didn't get the shots to fall, we didn't get the result, but all of the signs outside of that were positive.
100%.
Not every sign in the game, but there were just so many positives through there from our rookies and from the team, and kind of the rookies getting in situations where, like, Taylor Hendricks draws a foul but doesn't finish, and he's like, gosh, dang it, and he wants it, and the expectations are growing and what they want, and kind of barking at each other a little bit too about defensive assignments and covering their guy. You can tell they want more.
Yeah. And Bryce Sensabaugh, he surprised me. He has been surprising me, but tonight he played very well defensively. He, against Kyle Anderson, who is known to, especially against young defenders, is really good at just kind of slow movements and stuff, to where he gets them on a lot of things. And Bryce Sensabaugh was very patient defensively against him, played very well defensively against Kyle Anderson, where I thought that would be a matchup that the Timberwolves would be very excited about because of the lapses there. So I'm super impressed with what Sensabaugh showed defensively tonight.
And he's shown that he can create space and get his shot when he wants
Man, he was beating Kyle Anderson at those slow little body and pull up, and then his ability to not just do that, but is also looking for open players and creating offensively. It is each game just stacking.
There's some real positive signs there. With him, it's going to be interesting to see what the offseason brings, but man, it's, last game it was the couple of possessions in the third quarter. This game he had some spots where he was actually much more involved in the game throughout, kind of didn't fade and disappear as much.
Which is why I think it's a good thing to bring Sexton off the bench if you're going to start Bryce Sensabaugh, because then Bryce Sensabaugh is playing, even though Keontae only had 2 assists in the game and 0 assists in the first half, a lot of that was just missed shots, but Keontae gets the team way more involved when he runs the offense, and then Sexton. And Bryce Sensabaugh was way more consistently, had the ball in his hands. We seem to be trusting him more.
He looks like one of the few guys on our team that can create their own shot, and he does it right now involved with some more consistent good decisions.
Yeah.
So, Sexton can do that as far as creating a shot and gets to the hole, a lightning fast first step, but it's really come as the season's gone along with a lot of me moments, and he really kills our spacing. The amount of times that he runs to the guy that has the ball
as they're like making a move,
it's horrible. It's got to be so frustrating. Clarkson was doing that a lot during the first part of the season and on, but I think Sexton has kind of overtaken that role even more as it's gone along. That's not an award you want to win, people, but the spacing is actually pretty decent among our rookies. We saw the one play where Bryce went in, kind of shouldered a guy, spun back the other way, and in that moment, Taylor Hendricks had sprinted to the corner, found him, cans it. Good stuff. There were moments in the game where it almost felt like it would have been great to have Laurie Markkinen out there to get us a veteran bucket or two when we needed, and we were really stagnant there in the third quarter. But those gaps and everything are to be expected with a young lineup. But fun game to watch, man. This one for me was a blast, dude. I enjoyed this one.
And you could see Keontae, especially, his legs were tired. And I think a big part of it is one, he's a rookie and he's so deep into the schedule now that he's so far beyond what he's ever done before that it's catching up a little bit. On top of that, our management of his minutes is so horrendously bad. We don't like sub him in for a stretch, right? He starts the game for a good stretch and then subs out and then comes back, right? He doesn't have a fluid motion. It's just kind of like, hey, play the entire quarter.
The entire first quarter.
Yeah. And then you'll get a little bit of rest and come back in a second. And then play the entire quarter. and for some players, that's fine. Some players can do that. Agbaji was a guy that you could literally just leave out there and he would be fine. Keontae's not. You see it at the end of games when he's running those types of minutes. He's really struggling and his legs just aren't under him, especially in a back-to-back.
Back-to-back, at the tip-off, they guard him with Jalen McDaniels.
He's getting guarded by McDaniels. He's getting guarded by Jaden McDaniels. That one's Jaden.
Jaden. Jimmy McDaniels guarded him right from the tip-off.
But he's getting guarded by McDaniels, who's a very good defender. And they're rotating McDaniels, Anthony Edwards, Nickeil Alexander-Walker, all very strong defenders. And he's just taking that all game. So not only is he already have tired legs, he's then having to constantly go against that. Man, we're just setting him up for failure.
And he'd been on an incredible rate of scoring and in numbers, and in this one the shots weren't falling. You could see that he was kind of dejected towards the end of the game, but a lot of the shots that he was creating, there were a couple that were kind of rushed and a little bit unnecessary, but a lot of the shots he was creating in the space and some of the moves, man, all the other signs were positive.
He could have had 5 or 10 more free throws tonight easily.
Yep. And so I don't really view that as a bad game by him. The shots weren't falling. No.
He realistically should have had like 7 or 8 assists this game too.
It's true. The way that he's developed as this season's gone along is it's still the trajectory is going up, which is insane. And I was talking to you about this before the game. Is the part of the thing about it that's mind blowing is as the trajectory keeps going up, I keep second guessing what his ceiling is. There are a couple of times I thought I've had an idea of where it would be. I don't think I have an idea.
No idea. And
sky's the limit.
And that's what's exciting,
yeah,
right?
Sky's the limit.
He's not a guy that you can look at and be like, this is probably where his ceiling is. He's a guy you look at and it's like, where could it be? Which is awesome, which is why I think freaking what's his name? Ben Anderson or whatever is so effing dumb for like a week ago during this stretch that Keontae is playing great. Is just like, Keontae's size and everything like that just makes it so he's unable to hit that superstar level, which makes no sense because we all said that about Donovan Mitchell being able to be a superstar, and Keontae's got like 3 inches on him, and has shown the physicality and everything beyond that. It's just to make that kind of statement in a dude's rookie season who has been just like that. Just to me, show someone who really does not understand that level. And even Tony Jones kind of responded to that. And he was like, his defense this year has been pretty good, actually, better than I expected it to be. So yeah, I think he has superstar potential.
Wow. I didn't see that. That's crazy. There have been people that are employed as journalists and write. You can see there's some of them that they're good writers and good at their craft, but their overall basketball knowledge, it seems like with all the access that these people have, I don't know. I question a couple of them, a good 2 or 3 of them.
Yeah, Keontae is a guy that to me, there you can't. It's silly to put any sort of ceiling of where you think what you think he could be because of the growth he's already shown. Where it's just like, man, he's shown that in moments that he has that kind of it factor, that special, unteachable thing about superstars. There's something about them that there's just something you can't teach. That all-star to superstar range, and he has already shown those flashes. So it's like for us to
Very
already be
true.
putting a cap on that for a guy within the Jazz organization, like not within the organization, but right
Somebody that has
specifically about the
access.
Jazz and has that access
Yeah.
is ridiculous to me. But back to Keontae, I can't wait to see where he does end up.
Yeah. This ride is going to be fun. And along with that, I mean, all three rookies seem to be clicking at a level that gives you hope that we may have hit on all three draft picks, which is fantastic. The way that Taylor Hendricks rebounds outside of his area.
He in traffic makes it look easy.
He shrugs off people going up and challenging him on rebounds. His hands have to be enormous and strong. The way that he gets it, when he gets intentional about his play and his movements, he's going to put up some consistent wild numbers.
Mm-hmm.
Not only that, when Anthony Edwards was going off on us, they put Taylor Hendricks over on him and he challenged him on jump shots, and Anthony Edwards started front rimming and having to rush his shot.
Which Chris Dunn had done a great job in the first half against Anthony Edwards. We made Anthony Edwards struggle this game.
And that is an absolute superstar. I mean, both Cole and I, we think that Anthony Edwards is top 6 or 7 right now and on his way to one of the best in the league here in a short time.
Yeah.
So it's the things that Taylor Hendricks is doing, the way that he goes to the rim strong. I'd like to see how he kind of improves his handles and the way that he can drive to the bucket. And then, Bryce Sensabaugh, he's somebody that can come back, have his first healthy offseason in 3 years and slim down and really get to a point where he's able to take that next step with his athleticism that's there, his strength that's there. Is it all going to happen and click right? Are we going to capture magic in a bottle in one draft? Wow.
That would be shocking. And it's already like, so our last game and now this game is the youngest starting lineup in Jazz history. Last game was Sexton instead of Dunn.
Right.
And then these 2 games is the first time in NBA history to have 3 20-year-old or younger rookies all in one starting lineup. And so that's what is exciting right now. Is it's kind of I admit it to you, the Thunder a couple years ago had all these young players. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander was kind of separating himself as the star of that group, but all these other young players where it's like, man, these guys all look really good, and you're just kind of figuring out who works, who doesn't, who needs to move on, who doesn't, and they've done a really good job at that. They got lucky with getting another top 3 pick in Chet Holmgren. That helps the trajectory, but that's kind of where we're at right now. That's what makes these games fun. Is obviously Lowry is who Lowry is, and we love having him on that team. But who else can kind of make those steps with him? And we're seeing it with not just our rookies. We're starting to get, we're seeing some playing time with Juzang, whether I don't like Juzang, but we are starting to see some playing time with young guys like him and Potter, Jason Preston, who's coming out and plays really well within the offense.
He makes everybody get open shots.
He does something. It's like when Chris Dunn's out there, to where it's just simple point guard facilitator timing of his passes. That's the big part, is the timing of his passes show that dude is a very natural facilitator and can create offense for people. Sexton's a guy, the perfect example on that timing is the amount of times that, like, Sexton may get like 5, 6, 7 assists like he did tonight. But most of the time it's a really awkward timing on when guys get the ball. And you look at Preston, and almost every single pass is is right when you start to be like, throw it, he's already throwing it.
It's already gone. So Sexton, there's no question that he makes the defense have to change their shape and move with his attacking the rim. There's no question.
No question.
And with the defense having to change their shape and attacking the rim, he then has chances sometimes to kick a ball out. Earlier on in the season, he had a phase where he was hitting it with the timing, and it was very nice. The situations where he makes the defense move and he kicks it out, it's not the greatest timing, but it does create a little bit of space for our teammates to make their shots, for his teammates to make their shots. The difference with Jason Preston, like you said, is he hits the teammates when they're in their stride and set up and in their ideal window to hit the shot. And it's almost like he increases their field goal percentage by it. Kind of a difference in how each one creates the shots. One is more out of a me, and then we'll see what happens after, kind of like Clarkson.
Yes.
And the other one is, what are we doing? What's our movement off the ball? Who's stepping into a space that's right and gets the timing and the shot?
A lot of times it's because it's not them going into it going, I need to make this pass right now, right? Or I need to make a pass this possession that sets someone up. Sexton goes, you can tell there's a lot of times like he has already decided, all right, we're going to run this, and then I'm going to throw the pass. So then when it's not there, he's kind of just like, so and doesn't know what to do. Preston has one where a guy just cuts through. He goes to look for it, and all of a sudden he sees him open. And it's just like, oh, and just flicks it, right? And just can see that it's like a quarterback in football that's able to read the entire court instead of just seeing that one play. This is what we're running right now. You can see the full court, and it's also where he gets the ball to the players. You'll see more tight windows of players catch and shooting that they will make that Keontae may throw, or not Keontae. Keontae's great at it too. Colin Sexton may throw that they know they don't hit the three, and it's like, well, the guy's just hitting a shot. Yes, but when Preston or Keontae George or Chris Dunn, they're throwing the ball to them, it is in the pocket, perfect, and it makes it really easy for a player. Whereas even a slight little here and turn or whatever, that can drastically increase or decrease a player's shooting percentage.
And so we're talking about the intelligence level within sport. And this is the same in all major sports in the world, right? You know that I have an acquaintance that is employed by a high-level Premier League team over in England. And he basically has talked about the level of intelligence in an athlete, that you need to have the speed of thought to not have a pre-planned, I'm going to pass it here, pre-planned, I'm going to dribble it this way, or whatever's going to happen. But you have to be able to read to the very last millisecond the spacing and the movement on the court and what's open right now and what's going to be open in a second, and then have the ability to execute what your mind sees.
Yeah.
That is high-level sport anywhere in the world. And the difference between a Jason Preston is he's a high-level, intelligent athlete, not nearly as gifted physically as Colin Sexton, not even in the same discussion, not even in the same world. But his intelligence level has put him up there so that they're playing in the same league, right? We're not necessarily saying that Jason Preston's a better player than Colin Sexton, but emphasizing the intelligence and the size of Jason Preston's brain. He is Megamind out there. I like that show. But the ability to read the spacing and see it and not be predetermined on a play and think that you have to physically alter the outcome with your athleticism, which is kind of the American MO in all of our sports, to be honest. That's how the world views us. It's true.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I'm getting at is we're starting to see these things from these players. And so even though we did get beat pretty bad tonight, these are fun things to be able to see as we are starting to see a true rebuild of young players that you are playing and developing, and you start to make these decisions. You get into off season, it's like, hey, I like this guy, but he just doesn't fit with this, and you start to make those tough decisions. But we have to do it to start getting there, and it's why I'm okay with us resting some of our players and our veterans to see these things. And so, what made this game a really fun game to watch? The disappointing part on that is some players don't rise up to that, like Walker Kessler, who it's like he's just not ready to play basketball right now. I mean, so Preston, for example, throws a perfectly timed alley-oop. He's just not ready to jump. So then he misses a wide open dunk that, like you said, 100 times out of 100 should have been a dunk.
The timing had pulled the defender. It was in the correct arc. It was leading him to the rim. He had plenty of time to gather and rise. And
He just yeah, and then we're trying to make a run in the fourth quarter. Shot goes up. He jumps kind of under the rim. No one's there. Ball bounces off his face. And then he kind of, it's just like, where's your head? Where are you?
and then the body language, going back to, I made you rewind it and you see the body language when he
Yeah,
goes back and sits on the bench.
goes,
Everybody's sitting there. Taylor Hendricks is clapping. He comes down and
yeah, he sits down and leans away from everyone. And it's like,
what's going on?
Yeah, it's so weird to me. And to the point where it's affecting him offensively and defensively. He is doing very well in a one-on-one matchup.
Right.
When he is one-on-one, he's still being Walker Kessler in that sense. But any sort of screen, any sort of anything off ball, he is horrible right now.
This was a really rough game. The amount of times that he just wanted to back up and be a drop center, and you can see the other teammate is expecting him to cover the other side of the screen somewhat, a chance for them to get across at least. I still stick to my point that I don't think that we are practicing our defensive team philosophies near enough, because we're just kind of getting whatever we get out there.
Yeah,
but you can tell that some teammates, even that right at the very start, Sensabaugh yelled at Kessler to get out there and cover his guy after there was a screen and Kessler just dropped all the way under the rim. The amount of times that Naz Reid had a wide open three,
that's the thing, is Naz Reid is a great set shot 3-point shooter. You can't let him just sit and shoot wide open set shot threes. And he wouldn't. We'd go like a pick and pop. Anthony Edwards would go around. Kessler's not even hedging Edwards. He's just slowly backing away or just standing there. And then Naz Reid, they kick it to Naz Reid, and Naz Reid's almost kind of like, okay. It's concerning on everything about his body language on and off the court and the way teammates are interacting with him. It really makes you start to question on where his head is at mentally. And it sucks because I love the guy. I love his personality and everything like that. I love the way he played last year. And it's just like, where is your head?
And I'm fine with, some people have talked about a sophomore slump and how that happens with some players. I get that. I need to see the fight in the fire in his eyes.
Yes.
I can't see that kind of slumping off. In these teams, in professional teams, there's a hierarchy. And I'll tell you what doesn't happen in these teams is rookies don't come in and bark at an older teammate on the team that just got done playing for Team USA in the offseason. That shit doesn't happen.
Right.
Unless there's some weird crap going down.
Yeah.
Unless there's stuff's broken. And so, the signs are not good there. I want the kid to thrive and succeed, because I want, Jazz to be successful. Just kind of voicing my opinion and my concerns out here, thinking out loud. Right. I'm concerned the direction that this thing's going.
No, 100%. And it's still, like you said, it brings you back to, what are we coaching defensively?
Mm-hmm.
That's the big concerning thing for me is our coaching defensively. It's such a simple thing to beat us on defense, even against better players on defense. But it's like, if you guys want a perfect example on where we are such a low, either coached or anything like that, level defensive team, there's a moment in this game in the third, maybe the fourth quarter, where the ball kind of goes to the middle of the key. Our guard drops for it. Ball kicks back out. And so as we're recovering, our guard jumps to defend the shot. The guy steps through it. Colin Sexton's in the corner and kind of just like, and then steps back. And then they get an easy 1-on-2 layup. Middle school, high school level defensive switching and understanding of that is you close out, force them to dribble in. The corner guy steps in, you step that way, and that is a very easy, natural switch between two guards. and the center can kind of step up to slow him down, but that switch happens very easily, and your defense is reset, and it's a very simple process of just a boom, boom, boom that you don't expect NBA level players to not know how to do, and we consistently get beat by things like that.
And it was when Jason Preston was in there because he's the one that jumped up to
Yeah,
block the shot. And yeah, it's something that this level of player should be able to do automatically, playing a pickup game with guys who are on different teams.
yeah,
That's kind of like, the game of basketball is an international language, and even teammates that don't speak the language should be able to coexist on some of the basic movements and switches. That
right.
should happen. That's normal within a game. Um, I've I've said that for a while. I really don't think that we coach the details on defense. Obviously, there is some coaching in it. You can't say that there's not any, right? But I don't think that we coach the details, and we are highly focused on offensive players and offensive game, and chasing the points where this league is going, which is part of the formula for me, but not all of it. I think we're falling
Right,
short in that regard.
right. And so I hope we see some growth the rest of the season with things like that. And going into the offseason and next season, those are the things I think as a coaching staff and as a team we really need to improve on. So we'll see. We have what, 16 games remaining or something like that. And I'm cool if we run basically what we ran tonight for the
Yeah.
rest of the season. I'm cool with that to really get the growth that we need. Because the last 16 games and then going into summer league in the beginning of next year, that'll really tell us where we're at in talking point of like how far away we are from being a legit contending team.
In my mind, and I was going through this kind of in my mind this week, is I want to say that this is the last year that we trade away valuable players at the trade deadline.
Yes.
In my mind, I want to say that. I don't know if that's real. Hopefully that's the case. I mean, it won't mean we won't trade somebody that's a hard trade, but you know how kind of we've dumped players the last two trade deadlines.
Yeah, I think a big part depends on what we do in the off season, and a big part's going to depend on the development of all three of these rookies. That's going to be a huge part of what happens next year and where we're at. I believe next year will be a team that's a borderline play in to just solidified playoff team. That's where our goal should be next season. Is that 5 to 7, maybe 8 range playoff team. That if we really want to hit any sort of timeline with like marketing and things like that, that's where goals should be going forward. We'll see what happens. But I'm loving watching the young players be able to go out there and fail.
Yeah, it has to happen. They have to feel the sting. They have to, watch the film and see where they fell short. And in some people's lives, that kind of pain motivates great development.
Yeah, 100%. 100%. So we'll see what happens. We get another game against Minnesota Monday. And so
get to see another. That, we got OKC. I mean, it's a full slate, man.
It's rough. Maybe we'll see Gobert back in that game. I'm not sure why he's out. I know Markkanen's been practicing, so maybe we will see actually Markkanen. But either way, I'm excited to see these young players with a day of rest.
That's true. Get them a day of rest.
A little bit of a rest there, and so just keep seeing that growth with Keontae and the young guys. And I think it's going to be a fun end of the year, even if we really don't win many games.
That's true. This has been super fun. A couple of DNPs that you can kind of fully read into off of today's game. But man, I enjoyed watching the moments, and I'd even go back and watch it again. But I'm kind of nerdy.
No,
so
100%. Let us know what you guys felt about the game. What you guys think, where kind of we need to be, of what maybe realistic expectations are. Are we being a little crazy, or are we being underselling it? Let us know what you think. Either way, we'll see you guys Monday. Thanks, guys.